Up next on Connections, we'll explain how Chicago's business community is becoming an invaluable partner as the CTA looks for ways to improve. A smile to match a sunny personality. You'll meet a CTA customer assistant who's being recognized for her positive approach. We'll update the battle against bus bunching and show you where and how the CTA is working to prevent it. And are you prepared for a cold and snowy winter? The CTA is. We'll give you a glimpse of the 2008 winter plan. The CTA, working hard to improve, committed to quality and its riders. Welcome to Connections. The CTA, delivering quality, affordable transit that links people, jobs, and communities. I'm Jean Sparrow. Welcome to Connections. The agonizing wait for a solution to the mass transit funding crisis continues. State lawmakers have not passed legislation to fund regional mass transit, and the consequences are grim. It may look like blue skies, but the CTA is in the eye of the hurricane. November service reductions and fare increases were postponed, but the lack of a long-term funding solution is building into an even more ominous storm of fare hikes and service cuts.
We are still in a funding crisis, and the governor gave us sufficient money to get through the end of 2007.
So here it is, another doomsday deadline. Come January 20th, the CTA faces record fare hikes, the elimination of 81 of the CTA's 154 bus routes, the layoff of more than 2,400 employees.
It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating to our customers. It's very frustrating to the CTA to see mandate after mandate happen. It's forcing us to spend money in places we don't want to spend it. Our riders need to understand that the CTA has heart, that we care as an organization. The men and women of the CTA have fought very hard to ensure that we can balance our fiscal position so that we are not forced to turn to our riders with either fare increases or service cuts.
The CTA reduced administrative overhead costs by $38 million in 2007. Its 17 labor unions reached agreement on an historic pension and health care reform package. To maintain current fare and service levels, the CTA needs an additional $158 million for 2008. The CTA is legally mandated to operate with a balanced budget.
So we have to maintain the current level of operating revenue, and since fares only cover less than 50% of our costs, then the rest is government subsidy. And so the only things that we control are our fares and our service.
The Illinois General Assembly controls state subsidies. It alone has the power to reverse what has been a 20-year decline in inflation-adjusted funding.
When we talk to legislative leaders, when we talk to rank and file members of the legislature, they're all supportive of mass transit. The challenge is, how does everyone come together on a compromise that leads to a long-term resolution to our funding issues?
All those buses are packed with children going to school. If they can't get to school and their parents don't have no means of transportation to get them to school, what are they supposed to do?
During the public hearings on the 2008 budget, customers let the CTA know how strongly they oppose service reductions and increased fares. They need to voice concerns to state lawmakers too. A viable mass transit system is not a luxury. It is a necessity for the economic and environmental health of the entire region.
If nothing comes through, I think the most compelling comparison that I can make is that we would have a bus system that was the size of the bus system in 1952 when the CTA took over all of the private bus lines. Think about that.
Still, the CTA must prepare itself and its customers for the worst-case scenario, while holding out hope for the best.
We are hopeful that in the coming weeks we will see a long-term solution from Springfield, and that we can truly say that doomsdays will be something in CTA's history.
A good source for detailed information on fare hikes and service cuts is the CTA's website, www.transitchicago.com. Some of the best minds in the business community are coming together to work with the CTA on performance and management issues. And the collaborative effort is yielding some solid results.
One thing that makes Chicago a very special city is that the business community likes to give back. They want to give back.
As CEO of the Civic Consulting Alliance, Brian Fabes oversees a pro bono team of consultants working to maximize performance efficiency at the CTA.
Our job at the Civic Consulting Alliance is to help guide these firms into where they can have the biggest impact for their investment.
The firms invest the time and expertise of some of their top employees at no charge to the CTA. Firms include Booz Allen, IDEO, Deloitte, Katzenbach Partners, and Huron Consulting.
In May, about the time that Ron Huberman started as president, Booz Allen came in and helped institute a performance management system across the entire authority so we could understand where were trains being delayed, where were buses getting out of the barn on time, where were buses being bunched, how is capital construction being managed.
Management efficiencies at the Chicago Avenue Garage have already resulted in a significant increase in the number of buses in service each day.
And what they're doing is they're looking not at what we do, but how we do it to see how we can make it more efficient, improve productivity, and get the most value for our dollar spent.
Consultants found ways for employees to make maximum use of a new maintenance management computer system. Consultants also suggested an assembly line approach for certain maintenance duties.
We used to triple bus in and out like about 12 times a month. And right now we've taken at least 3 of those trips and combined them into one stop. They're improving the way that the parts are delivered to the mechanic.
We had at the one garage last month 15 buses that were out of service because of warranty work. By working with the vendors, that number is dropped down to 9. That one example are 6 more buses on the street providing service.
Consultants also found a more efficient way for control center employees to handle door delays on CTA trains.
So by simply creating a standard process for how to respond to door delays, we can get the average down to below 3 minutes, but we can get rid of this long tail of some of the delays that take 10, 15, 20 minutes. That's very concrete. When you're sitting on a train and you realize there's a door problem, there's an announcement, you wait 1.5 minutes and the train's moving again.
Consultants also suggested efficiencies in the areas of elevator repairs, bus and train cleanliness, and construction management.
A lot of these are very specific and small, but when you add it up, this is about making a safe, clean, on-time, dependable service and matters to people.
The CTA leveraged over $2 million worth of pro bono consulting work between May and December of last year. Just ahead on Connections, a busy station gets a facelift. So we're asking people what your transit resolution is this year.
It does save more gas, so I think I probably will use the train more.
I hope they fund it. Our New Year's resolution is actually to quit smoking. And
Well, you can't smoke on the train?
no, that's the glad thing, because I'm quitting smoking, and that's going to help me, because CTA is not smoking. It's all smoke-free.
Parking was too high. The driving itself was too much.
Everybody keep riding CTA.
Okay.
It's the #1 trans line to me.
It's more efficient and it's better for the environment, and I get to read my book.
Why drive and face traffic jams, stiff parking fees, and skyrocketing gasoline bills? Plenty of people rely on the CTA. If you want to hop aboard, here's how to get all the information you need. Online, go to www.transitchicago.com. There you can access bus and train schedules, system maps and brochures, and service updates. You can even use the trip planner. Enter where you want to start, where you want to go, and what time you plan to travel. The trip planner suggests the best route to take. Another option, make the connection by phone. Call 836-7000 from any local area code. combining technology and teamwork while delivering dependable, affordable transit. I'm Jean Sparrow. Welcome to Connections.
Hello again, it's me. No, I'm not coming to you from behind bars. I'm coming to you from the Grandin State subway station. Now, this station is set to get some serious rehabilitation, and the Chicago Department of Transportation is providing the money to make it happen.
When it was first designed, the Grandin State subway was grand in appearance and state-of-the-art. But that was back in the early 1940s.
Originally, it was very modern. It was the first time they used fluorescent lighting in the station, first time that they used escalators or turnstiles, and it was it has state-of-the-art ventilation system for that time.
Now it's time to bring the station up to 21st century standards. It's a major project that will be funded and coordinated by the Chicago Department of Transportation.
The downtown transit stations are actually city property. They sit within the city right of way. We work very closely with federal agencies, with state agencies, and with local sources to get the funding required for these projects. The Grand State renovation is one of our biggest red line renovation projects to date. The price tag on it is a little over $67 million, which we see as a very great investment in what is an outstanding transit system.
It's a very good partnership. Not only are they funding it, but they're working closely with us in ensuring that it doesn't have a major impact with our customer service.
The Grandin State renovation will follow the same design theme as other remodeled subway stations on the Red Line. Lake and Randolph is the most recently remodeled. There's a lot of stainless steel in the mezzanine area, new lighting, durable granite flooring, and LED signage. The sharp, clean look of ceramic tiled walls and ceilings is carried through to the platform area. Compare this platform area to the current design at Grandin State.
We're also going to renovate the platform level. We're going to open that up more. We're going to make it more bright, new lights.
Expansion of the mezzanine level will require extensive excavation.
Grandin State, we're increasing the mezzanine. It's going to be about 2,000 square feet larger than the existing station. It's roughly 40% bigger.
There will also be new escalators and something the station doesn't currently have, elevators.
We're going to have new elevators, which today the station is not ADA accessible. So now we're bringing 3 elevators to the station from street to mezzanine and from mezzanine to platform levels.
The scale of this project will require periodic rerouting of street-level vehicle and pedestrian traffic. The subway itself will not close.
Throughout the Grand State renovation project, the station will remain open through the entire construction project. There will be times when some entrances and exits will be closed, but we'll have very clear signage to direct CTA passengers to get to their trains.
It's actually going to be a beautiful station, and I'm looking forward to seeing it completed.
This is one of the CTA's busiest stations. About 8,000 people pass through here every day.
Still to come, snow and cold this winter? Here's how CTA prepares for wintry weather.
Connections is now available on demand 24 hours a day. You can now subscribe to the Connections video podcast and automatically receive each month's program absolutely free. There are several ways to find us. Go to www.transitchicago.com and click on Connections. You can also go directly to the iTunes Music Store and search the words CTA Connections. You can either choose a specific episode for instant viewing, or you can subscribe once and automatically download new shows each month. Like all video podcasts, Connections can be viewed directly on your computer or laptop, or can be viewed on a portable device such as the Video iPod.
The word connection, a link or a spark that brings people together. I'm Jean Sparrow. Welcome to Connections. The CTA's winter plan has already been put to the test. Recent ice and snowstorms have brought out the plows, shovels, and sleet scrapers early in the season. Scraping, salting, sanding, blowing, and plowing. The CTA does whatever it takes to keep buses and trains on schedule during winter storms.
At the end of the day, we all know we have the same mission, and that mission is to keep buses and trains running. So whatever that does take, whether it's my staff or a combination of staffs, whether it's from bus, whether it's from rail, whether it's from facilities, it's irrelevant.
On the bus end, CTA focuses on removing snow and ice from buses, bus garages, and turnarounds. On the rail side, employees clear ice and snow from platforms and then spread sand to provide traction.
The reason we don't use salt is that salt combined with water is conductive, and you have a third rail, and that's 600 volts of electricity.
That 600 volts of electricity is no match for ice. If the third rail ices up, electricity can't reach the train.
So our biggest fight is to make sure we keep that ice off the rail, and the biggest component that keeps that off is the sleep blades. Every train in the fleet will have sleep blades on the number one end put on, so that, let's say, all of a sudden a storm blows through, that operator can get down, put the sleep blades down, and that train starts to scrape off the ice immediately.
There's also a system to spread a de-icing solution along the third rail. These containers are filled with a paste that's pumped into a distribution hose on the train's so-called trolley shoe. The trolley shoe is the part of the train that makes the connection with the third rail.
The sooner we get the de-icer paste on the third rail, the more effective the whole system works.
Lead cars are also equipped with front-end plows to move snow aside. But when the really big storm hits, the CTA brings out its double locomotive diesels to bully their way through the snow. Prepping for winter begins in September. The action plan goes into effect when the first flakes fall.
I think for me, when in doubt, get out there. So you know what? When I find out that there's snow, I get my staff out there early. The big thing is having individuals who've been through this before. I mean, I think what CTA is very lucky is that we have a lot of individuals who stay with this company a long time, and so they've been through it already. So their experience and their knowledge and their relationships with the other agencies help us to make sure that we're going to have clean, safe stations, clean, safe streets.
Older buses in the CTA fleet have been retrofitted with a preheating mechanism that the newer buses have as a standard feature. These heaters ensure a quick startup of the engine and a quick warm-up of the interior. It's the #1 pet peeve of CTA customers, bus bunching. The CTA has identified 5 routes to test new initiatives to reduce all that bothersome bunching. Ever since there have been buses, there has been bunching. And when buses bunch, riders fume.
We identified that bus bunching was a significant problem for our customers because they would wait, and sometimes there would be huge gaps, and then there would be 3 buses that came at the same time.
So we hear the complaint about bus bunching. We're aggressively implementing that technology that will help us reduce how bus bunching happens.
Reducing bus bunching is a priority for CTA President Ron Huberman. A pilot program is underway along 5 routes with the biggest bunching problems.
We're trying to not inundate ourselves with using every single route, but identifying the worst routes and focusing on those.
So a lot of routes that go downtown experience different problems from routes that don't go downtown. They go east-west, but out of the corridor. Express routes, they're different than local routes. And so we want to focus on different tactics and techniques for those different kinds of routes.
Along number 66 Chicago route, a task force determined there were problems with spacing as buses left Navy Pier. A new schedule is in effect that changes running time from checkpoint to checkpoint. At the Navy Pier terminal, supervisors are expected to evenly space departing buses.
What we saw was that a lot of buses were coming into Navy Pier, 2 or 3 of them, but then they were also leaving Navy Pier, 2 or 3 of them, which doesn't make any sense.
We talked to the operators. We found out what they experienced on the street. And based upon what they experienced, they said that they could make the decisions. And we said, okay, make the decision. Operate in such a way whereas you're able to space yourself. If you know your leader's late, you can pass your leader.
That means bus operators can now pass the buses in front of them if the buses start bunching.
So it allows the process to be much more dynamic in relationship to if they see a bus ahead of them, they can space themselves back or even proceed ahead of that particular vehicle in order to allow an adequate spacing. So they're not really schedule driven anymore, they're more focused on providing the service to the customers.
There's both an art and a science, so it definitely helps to talk to the drivers and talk to the people on the street who are watching these buses, and we do a lot of that just to say, okay, where do you think the problem areas that are?
On the number 8 Halsted, bus operators are also allowed to pass other buses to alleviate bunching. And when an operator calls in sick, an operator may be pulled from a less congested route to fill in that run. Heavy traffic and truck deliveries on the Halsted route can also result in bus bunching.
Same thing can happen if there's a construction going on or if there's a temporary blockage like a train or a delivery truck or any of these other things that happen along the route. That could even just a minute or two makes a really big difference.
Seconds and minutes add up. That's why the CTA encourages the use of Chicago cards. The cards speed customer loading. Express routes also put more zip in a trip. So next time you see a group of buses bunched up, take heart because the CTA is taking action.
It's the number one customer complaint. Certainly it's something that we see as riders and we're on the street. It's very frustrating to a lot of people.
It's frustrating for them and it's frustrating for us, and we're trying to minimize that.
Early analysis of the data shows that on the number 66 Chicago route, daily commuters can save up to a minute of time each day. That adds up to about 4 hours of save time over the course of a year.
Up next, a smile that's winning over customers and winning awards.
That's enough. All right. I've got enough. Come on! Oh, you gotta be kidding me! What the heck?
Why drive and face traffic jams, stiff parking fees, and skyrocketing gasoline bills? Plenty of people rely on the CTA.
If you want to hop aboard, here's how to get all the information you need. Online, go to www.transitchicago.com. There you can access bus and train schedules, system maps and brochures, and service updates. You can even use the trip planner. Enter where you want to start, where you want to go, and what time you plan to travel. The trip planner suggests the best route to take. Another option, make the connection by phone. Call 836-7000 from any local area code. Getting from here to there quickly, easily, and without breaking the bank. I'm Jean Sparrow. Welcome to Connections.
You know, the world would be a much better place if everyone was as personable and helpful as the lady you're about to meet. She's an award-winning CTA customer assistant, and even if you don't recognize her name, you'll definitely recognize that smile. Good morning.
Her name is Janan Porter. She's a customer assistant at the Monroe Station on the Blue Line. She's also the winner of the Customer Assistant Competition at the 2007 CTA Rodeo.
And the winner is Janan Porter.
I honestly think I froze because I was just looking like I couldn't believe it. Then afterwards, I started feeling like I think I deserve it. You know, I do a good job out here and my passengers can speak for me. So then I kind of got excited.
Janan went straight to her parents' home after winning the award. Her father worked for the CTA for 25 years.
I ran in and I was telling my dad and I got everybody excited about it. So then afterwards, I felt like, okay, I'm the champion.
And what makes for a champion customer assistant?
We look for a person that's very, outgoing, that goes out and doesn't wait for a customer to come and seek help. Ms. Porter is excellent at that. She always have been.
Good morning. Good morning.
When Janan Porter says good morning, she means it, no matter how many times she says it. And she said it a lot throughout her 17 years as a customer assistant.
You have to start the day off with a positive attitude at all times. I like to help people, so I'm able to give back and greet my customers every morning with good morning, as well as they greet me. Sometimes they make my day just as well as I make theirs. Some of my passengers call me Sunshine, so they give me a lot of feedback. They'll come and they'll say, "You wasn't here yesterday, I missed you, where were you?" And it make me feel like, they care and I care.
Customer assistants work the mezzanine and platform levels of their stations.
She has to listen to the radio. She has to go and assist customers. If there's a need, she has to go downstairs and assist the operators in cutting out doors, or if there's a problem on the train, she has to go down there and also assist with that. But she does it so well. She does it so well. She makes it look very easy.
Janan works the busy morning shift at Monroe.
I'm working the AM shift. I start at 6 in the morning to 2 o'clock, which is preferable for me because I have 2 daughters, 15 and 8, so I prefer the morning shift to get home to help with homework.
In between helping her customers and her daughters, Janan helps anyone else who asks.
On your lunch break, you get 20 minutes, you're up there trying to get back quick. Someone's gonna ask you, they're looking around, especially downtown, where's east, west, north, and south, so yes. I'm always willing to help, on the job, off the job. It's natural for me, so that's me.
After winning the CTA's 2007 Customer Assistant Competition, Janan is looking forward to competing in the international competition for transit workers. Connections is now available on demand 24 hours a day. You can now subscribe to the Connections video podcast and automatically receive each month's program absolutely free. There are several ways to find us. Go to www.transitchicago.com and click on Connections. You can also go directly to the iTunes Music Store and search the words CTA Connections. You can either choose a specific episode for instant viewing, or you can subscribe once and automatically download new shows each month. Like all video podcasts, Connections can be viewed directly on your computer or laptop, or can be viewed on a portable device such as the Video iPod.
Traveling in and around Chicago on the CTA saves you time and money. I'm Jean Sparrow. Welcome to Connections.
We're always looking for story ideas. If you have a travel secret you'd like to share, or maybe you know about a hidden Chicago gem that's served by the CTA, we want to know about it. So give us a call at the Connections hotline, 312-681-2812. Helping you make your connections. I'm Jean Sparrow. Thank you for watching.